All right, so back to this about free will. So free will was given us, and what we must understand is that, you know, we believe there might be 8 billion people on this planet right now. Well, there are a lot of aspects of God. And I'm not sure if I'm going to even, we'll just simplify it to the human race, okay? We'll just simplify it to the human race. We are a collective consciousness. And so we were given free will as a collective consciousness in addition to an individual. So I have free will and my own agency to make choices regarding this life that I am experiencing at this time. Okay. But as a collective consciousness, we all have free will, and we make up a larger bubble of consciousness, if we want to see it as a bubble. I see it almost like a cosmos of energy, but this is how we need to understand. If enough of us that are part of this collective consciousness, if enough of us choose to have a certain experience, that will come to fruition. And this is why I have said in other videos, you know, we really need to be mindful what we're giving our loving attention to. And it is that, whether it's a positive thing or a negative thing, okay? When we give something our attention from a passionate place, we are giving it the power of God. So I'm going to cite some things here. You know, your television shows, movies back in the 90s that were about pandemics, television shows about zombies and apocalypse and all these things. If enough of us give our love and attention to those things, we can manifest those experiences into this material plane. And Christ did kind of caution us about that, where 2 or more are gathered in my name. And it is not about just in worship or in gratitude. So there are other ways that we manifest. We can manifest from a loving place of gratitude, or we can manifest from another place. And so we must be careful. And again, that is why some things have been kept from us, as in the form of technologies. You know, some things have been kept from us in the form of technologies because it was detrimental to those financial institutions for us to have them, because it would put them out of business. But on the other side of that, there are some technologies that were kept from us because we were not willing, we were not ready to accept the responsibility endowed in having access to them, because it means that we have to be operating from a place of love and gratitude in our everyday. So what I'm going to say is, yes, we have free will, but I don't want my son to wear a mask to school, and so I have pulled him out of public school. And my choice came in with, this is what the collective is doing. Okay, this is what your brothers and sisters are doing right now. What do you want to do about it? How do you want to express yourself in this situation? And I choose to express myself by removing my cooperation, removing my blessing. And that's what I'm doing. I'm saying, no, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want my child to be a part of this. And so I'm pulling away I'm removing my participation in it. I'm going to choose this instead. Okay? So, we do have free will, but we also the world around us is subject and created by the desires of the others of us that are here making the same choices. Okay, so I need to address a situation, guys, please. I need to address a situation that has has been prevalent in ufology and the like, and in some spiritual circles, okay? Please, please. There is a concept. See, I think they think I'm singing and they want to sing too. Or it's like I think they think we're all having a talk. I'm going to have to pause here. It sounds as though someone is here. I'll be right back. Okay, and part of this reading I'm going to skip down to next. The word fate, okay? So, Conversations with God says, even fate can be an acronym for from all thoughts everywhere. Okay? In other words, the consciousness of the planet. And so when enough people are fixated and desiring a certain kind of experience, it becomes reality. It's that simple. We are creators. We are manifestors. That's God. We were created in the image of God. Our Father is the ultimate creator. So of course we create, we manifest. This is what we do every day, all day long. Okay? Thoughts come into our minds that are not necessarily our thoughts. They are programs running, and these are labels, and I'm sorry, this is the easiest way for me to communicate. It is as if we live in a computer game, okay? The program is running. Your avatar, your body, your vessel is equipped with certain personality traits that are energetically encrypted into your isness, in a sense, when you come into a body, okay? And that has to do with astrology and the planetary alignments and the energetic forces that are at play when we are born. And that is why it does matter when we are born, for this reason. It is so that we can take on certain traits and attributes that will help us in whatever experience it is that we are desiring to have. If you are looking at it from the space of God, it is like looking at your children, and each one of them comes into this material form with slightly different variations, and there is a word for that, slightly different. It's a variable, but it's encoding or slightly different traits of character when they come down into this material form. And so you get to see from that grand space, you get to see how these slight differences and variations affect the experiences that then occur and how those things turn out, okay? How these different experiences affect the mechanisms of choice and all of this. And so from that level, I'm sure it's intriguing and just miraculous to sit and observe and watch this go on, knowing all the while that your children are completely safe because you've never left them anywhere. They're still all in you, and always welcome back. Nothing has changed. They're just children at play, really, in a world that cannot hurt them. Nothing. Can you imagine that? Just let our children run amok because there's nothing can really hurt them. And that's kind of where God is. Knowing that we're all just kind of at play here because none of it affects who and what we truly are, what we have always been, and what we will always be. Okay? Which explains why there is no hell. It explains why the hell that is perceivable is created by the individual. That's all. Okay? So we're going to get into this a little bit. So, fate, from all thoughts everywhere. I thought that was really awesome. So I, couldn't come up with anything that great. So there it is. But so that is saying, again, where two or more are gathered. If enough of you have this similar goal, it will become reality. Okay? And so that is why so many of us are speaking out about the importance of where we're focusing our love and attention. And you can focus love on something that is not loving. You can give something the power of God that is not in your best interest, like wearing masks, like, you know, whatever. We can do that. But the funny thing is, in order to be able to do that, we have to be fooled or tricked into it. You know, people must believe that what they are doing is really the best thing for everyone. Because that's innately, that's what we are. We are love. Innately, we are pure love. And so we really want to do the right thing. If someone can convince you of what the right thing is, even if it isn't, we can give our love and God power to that thing, okay? And so here's where the importance of being, exercising senses that are above the 5 senses and beyond the 5 senses, and that's where this becomes really, really, really important. It becomes really important to turn away from. That's how Christ would say it, to turn away from. I'm going to say to opt out of things that lower our vibration or keep us from realizing or assimilating these other senses and that connection. So the stronger our connection to the senses that are greater I'm having trouble with these words, greater than our 5 senses, the stronger that connection is, the less we rely on statistics of the world to dictate where we give our God power, loving attention. Once we get away from those things and we rely more heavily on our 6th sense and above, then we are manifesting through, we are still manifesting in love, but we are manifesting that which is loving from that which is loving. So it's like cutting out the middleman. And in this scenario, the middleman wants to harness your ability to manifest things, but wants to also guide you and lead you to what they want the manifestations to be. That's loud. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. We might hear some more banging. There's things going on outside. Okay, so back to this. All right. So then where we're going to go from here is into speaking about in some of the teachings of spirituality, there has been a line drawn between service to self and service to others. Okay? I have been able to see recently that there is a lot of misunderstanding in this area, and I don't know if it was an intentional misdirection or if it was, you know, just an accidental misdirection. But we're going to look at that a little bit, okay? So when we are centered in self, okay, you can look at self-centered as being a negative thing. It is not. When we are centered in self, what that really means, it means that we know ourselves so well, we exercise such an incredible amount of integrity that we speak truth, we think truth, we align with truth. And we do not then allow these other influences of the millions of faces of fear, the things that are not love, are not who we truly are. Those things do not come in. We don't allow them to come in. We recognize them before they get anywhere near us. And so we don't have that influence, okay, when we are truly centered in self. So we have been taught that to be self-centered is a bad thing. Okay. we need to come to understand that this is not true and it's absolute. So I'm going to read some things from this text that explains it way better than I can. So I'm going to read some of this Conversations with God, because it is addressed within this text, and I think it's really, really valuable. Okay, just 1 second till I bring up my screen again, because it has timed out. Okay, there we go. Good. All right. Yet I tell you this: the highest choice is that which produces the highest good for you. As with all profound spiritual truth, this statement opens itself to immediate misinterpretation. The mystery clears a bit the moment one decides what is the highest good one could do for oneself. And when the absolute highest choice is made, the mystery dissolves, the circle completes itself, and the highest good for you becomes the highest good for another. This is because you and the other are one. Now, that might take some thought, but it's absolutely true. Okay, I'm going to use my last long-term relationship as an example, okay? When we entered into our relationship, it seemed like we were very much in alignment. I can't tell you if that's real or not, but it seemed like we were very much in alignment. But what ended up happening was, and this has happened in several relationships, and I could only see it in my partner, but I'm sure it happened in myself too. Okay, yes. Okay, let me use me for the example, okay? So I was always okay to try on different hats, let's say. So one time I was in a relationship with an alcoholic, and he liked to drink. And so, we would spend time sitting on the porch at night, smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol. And, I was like, okay, I'll try it. Hey, because I wanted to spend time with him. And so I did that, right? And so I would smoke cigarettes and drink alcohol, and didn't realize that at some point I just lost interest in it. And I didn't even realize it had happened. But then there came a point when he was outside sitting on the porch smoking cigarettes and drinking alcohol, and I was inside with the kids. And, these things happen, and we don't even give them our attention, but it happened. And eventually the relationship dissolved, because we needed to have these things in common in order for us to get out of the relationship what we needed, or at least me. And I just couldn't align with it. So that fell away. My last relationship, kind of the same thing. When we first met, he was working a 12-step program rigorously. And 12-step programs are spiritual programs. And so we were very much in alignment. But at that time, I still was willing to smoke cigarettes, because there was a time when I enjoyed smoking cigarettes. I was never addicted to cigarettes, but when I did smoke them, I enjoyed it, okay? I continued my spiritual journey. He was no longer working his program, and eventually, I kept working my spiritual program, and got to the point that I could not even enjoy cigarette smoke anymore. Like, I couldn't enjoy cigarettes at all. And I couldn't stand the smell of the smoke, and I couldn't, right? And I began to see how, as I removed myself from it, it seemed like his smoking habit became greater. Now, did it really, or was it in my mind? I think it did, because it got to a point where we couldn't drive an hour without him being really worked up and wanting a cigarette. So I think his habit did get worse, but I think it got worse because he wasn't working his spiritual program, and so needed something to fall back on when he wasn't doing that. But this is just me speculating, okay? What I can say is it became so distasteful to me that I couldn't even stand the smell of it. So my partner pretended not to be smoking and actually lied to me several times about it when I would smell it on him, and he would lie to me about it. And then, of course, the lies, see how these things just become a snowball effect. So what I'm going to say is, when we are not willing to be absolutely authentic, and there was a point in that relationship when I said to him, I said, look, if this is what you want, if you want to smoke cigarettes and you want to do these things, if this is what you want, do it, but go do it. Not with me. Go have that life experience, and let's choose to go separate ways. Eventually that is what happened anyway. Okay. But what I'm going to say is, if we are absolutely true to ourselves and making choices for what feels right for us in that moment, we are choosing what is better for everyone. Because, you know, had I been able to, I couldn't at that time, but had I been able to say at that time, because I didn't know, that I was not going to be in alignment with this thing, or, you know, had my partner been able to say, when I said, hey, look, I'm not in alignment with this anymore. If you want to continue it, then you need to go do it on your own and not with me. If we were able to be authentic in that moment, we would have parted ways, maybe on better terms than what we did. Because once the lying came into it, trying to hide this thing, and then that broke down the trust, that destroyed trust and created a lot of hurt feelings and this kind of thing. So what I'm going to say is, in that moment, if he would have been able to say, you know what, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. Also, who knows what the conversation would have been if he would have said, hey, you know what, I don't want to give up cigarettes. Is there a way we can still, you know, cohabitate or stay in this relationship, whatever. But that conversation didn't happen. So this, I'm hoping that you can understand that this can illustrate how, if we exercise absolute integrity and we are centered in self, and we say, this is the experience I'm wanting, this is the experience I desire at this time, you know, if we can be absolutely honest with each other, we can only do that if we are centered in self. So we have to be taking care of ourselves first before we can assist others, okay? Because otherwise we're exchanging, I'll do this for you, expecting that you'll do something else for me. And if we are truly centered in self, that is the only way we can give freely without expectations of a return. Okay. So I'm hoping that that's clear. We just have to be careful of what we think of service to others. Service to others does not mean to give and give and give and give and give. Sacrifice is not of God. Sacrifice is not of God. We have been taught that it is. We have been taught that to martyr ourselves, and religions have taught us that and the like. Something about that just has never really felt right to me, and I look at, I look at the life of Christ. I look at the life of Jesus, and there is nothing, all things in this world only have the value that we give it. Anything. It only has the value that we give it. Money, for example. I love money more than money. I love what money can provide, right? But when you really look at it, it's not money that provides that. The whole COVID experience taught me that. So the whole COVID experience taught me that what is really valuable in our world is food, water, shelter. What is truly valuable in our world is a feeling of safety, a feeling of stability, a feeling of being cared for by something greater, right? And so some people, if they have a certain amount of money, they feel safe. If they have a certain amount of money, they feel stable and supported. What I will say is, if there is a food shortage, I could have a stack of $100 bills, but if I can't buy food with it, what good does it do me? If I am cold and I have a stack of $100 bills, if I can't get something to make myself warm with that stack of money, it doesn't help me. Okay? So we need to start looking at what it is that is truly valuable, and it is feeling safe, feeling well, feeling love, feeling those things. Well, just maybe it is time to start realizing that that doesn't come from a financial portfolio. You know, it could for some, right? But it's an illusion of safety. It's an illusion. So what this whole experience has taught me was to go deeper and to get to the bottom of what it is to feel safe. And the bottom of it is, and I experienced it today, you know, I pulled my son out of public school and I got the notification, your child was absent from school today. As I'm looking into homeschool programs and what options I want to pursue, it brought up some reactions within my body, some stress reactions within my body. And, you know, I just had to, I recognized that it was there, and I was like, well, Father, you know, this is what I feel is my expression. This is what I feel I am meant to express in the world right now in this moment. And so I turn it over to my Father. I turn it over to my Father to, you know, trusting that I'm going to be guided to that which I need to do when I need to do it. I'm going to be given the tools and the resources to see that I have everything I need, because that is what my Father does. He provides for us. We are always safe in our Creator. So trusting that and saying, wow, I really don't know how this is going to work out. I really don't know how this is going to be. I really don't know. But I'm going to trust in the one that created everything. I'm going to trust in that one and not get sucked into the mire of disillusionment. So, sorry, I digress. Back to this. Let's see. What else did we want to add here? Okay. Oh, well, that was a good inlet. It takes great courage to announce oneself as a man of God. Okay. And so what I'm going to say, about this is, has come up in conversation with friends and clients, you know, well, Missy, how do you justify pulling your son out of school? There's no evidence to support that wearing masks is detrimental to your health. Well, that's not true either, because there are those. Okay, look, this is what I'm going to tell you. If you feel the need to justify why you want to do anything, you can find it. If you feel the need to justify it with information, studies, whatever, it's out there. There is going to be information to support whatever decision a person chooses to make, because we are manifestation. We are that, okay? So you have two different arguments and both are true, because this person wants this and this person wants that. And so they make it so. It is true. Okay. What can I say about my situation and choice to remove my son from school? So what I say to that is, I don't need it. I don't need statistics. I don't need a study. I don't need the voice of another person telling me that it's harmful to my child to do this thing. All I need is the awareness of the feeling that happens within my chest when I see a child in a mask. I feel that. I feel that tightening in my chest. I feel it. I saw a billboard, 2 of them, driving downtown, 2 billboards, advertising for different things. One was a doctor's office or health insurance, and another one something else. And the people on the billboard had masks on their faces. And it tightened up my chest and all these things. That is all I need. That is all I need to say that is not for me. I don't need statistics to back me up. I don't need to justify it because of numbers or opinions or anything else. All I need is that feeling that it produced within my body that tells me it is not loving. It is not expansive in a loving way to me. It is the opposite, right? And so I don't align with it. And that's what I'm going to say. I don't align with it. And because I don't align with it, then I get to choose what I do with that. So how does this tie into that statement of declaring yourself as a man of God or a woman of God? The Christ that is in me does not align with those things, period. So in that sense, I'm declaring myself as a woman of God because I'm saying the Christ that is in me does not align to that. And it doesn't matter how many studies or statistics or whatever a person would try to force feed me. The Christ within me does not align to it, period. I'm not telling anybody else they can't. If it makes you feel safer to wear a mask, by all means put one on, because you need to do what makes you feel safe. I don't align to that. And it just is. So isn't that funny? Because in the world today, because I'm just saying, you know, I don't need any external justification for this. This is just how it is for me. I don't need all that stuff, right? I need validation from Christ in me, and I have that. So, and that is kind of how I pray my prayers too, you know. I don't pull in statistics from studies and voices on a television and things like that. I try to bring it into my still space of contemplation and let Spirit guide me. Spirit can communicate with me through those ideas. Absolutely. But the idea is communicated deeper in a feeling. It's not an emotion. It is a feeling, and they are different, okay? Emotions are very, as I heard it recently described, emotions are very loud and very powerful and very, okay, they kind of can overtake any situation. They can cloud the mind to the point that we actually seem to go insane. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a feeling. And feelings are communicated on the level of knowing. And it is a knowing so deep and so full that no matter how many statistics or whatever is given, the knowing is immovable. It is immovable. But it is mine. And it is just for me. I am not wishing to push this off on anyone else. Okay? It is just mine. And I accept that it is mine. And that this is the expression that I am meant to be in the world at this time. So so there is, and it is hard. It is hard to declare yourself as a woman of God. And I wouldn't even say it like that. I would say, my way of saying it is, I don't need your studies. I don't need your statistics. I don't need your, what you think is scientific information. It would be great if those things were in alignment. And some of them are, and some of them are. But all I need is the information I get from the Christ within me that speaks to me in another kind of language. It's a different kind of language. It's the language that tells me that I am eternal and that everything that happens here is inconsequential to the aspect, the part of me that is unchanging, that is Christ, that does not change, that is love, that is always love, you see. Okay. Apologies for digressing yet again. Here we go. All right. Okay. Are you prepared to give up glory on earth for the greater glory of the soul fully realized? And that's goes along with what I've just been saying about this knowingness. Okay? It is removed from any worldly understanding. It is removed from that. I do gravitate towards people who have information that does align with what Christ is telling me on the level of feeling. Okay? I do gravitate towards them. But it is a willingness to renounce, in a sense, the things of the world. Okay? And it's going to be, I think it's going to come up for people more and more and more as the weeks progress. All right. So here we go into worry is just the worst form of mental activity there is next to hate. Maybe I should stop it here and do a separate video on that. I may, because I'm feeling like we're 37 minutes in and this is a whole video of itself. So I think I'm going to put that on the next video. I hope this message finds you well. In peace and love, may you be blessed.